class project last week. We had almost completed the student class and we had started working on the lab class. What you have from me now from Blackboard is a few more things. I have partially completed the lab class, and there are a few things that I would now like to discuss as a class. So the setters and getters, I don't think we need to kind of put in any more time. We all know what getters and setters are. Mostly, hopefully, all of us also know what constructors are. So I'll try to give you those, and then we'll fill up the rest of the code together. So that way, I'm kind of saving time, and I'm hoping it's okay with everybody, right? Because I need to move on a little. So if you still have problems with Java code, then you definitely need to see me. So if you are now able to define a class, you know what constructors, getters, and setters are, and it's making sense what instance variables are, then I think we are okay. We can kind of increase our speed a little. Okay. So the student class, I'll tell you how, if I've made any changes, and there are a couple of small things I also want you to do with me. And again, I'll give bonus marks for it just so that students who do it can do it. The first change I made here was, I mean, it's not a change. I just kind of, instead of calling the set method, I just made credits equal to 0. Right? The add credits method, the name was saying you're adding credits. And though add credits was I was passing a value 0 to it. This is what you had before. I was calling the add credits method here with a value 0. So there is nothing wrong in it. This one just looks more intuitive that credits are being set to 0. So either statement is correct. I mean, either statement is correct. There's nothing wrong in either of these statements, but as I said, I just thought this was more intuitive. Okay, nothing else. We all had, I've kind of taken a printout because with 2 sections, I don't know what I'm doing where. The get student name, the set student name, get student ID, set, these are all simple ones. This was all simple. Here, let's see if I can ask you to improve a little more things for me. I wrote an add course, but I forgot to write a delete course or drop course. I would like to add that method. But before I go on with add course, I want to ensure that the course being added is unique. Like you go on banner, once you select a course and you add it, can you add it again? No. And we didn't take care of it here. All we said was if I can enroll, just enroll me. So it just adds a new course. How will you check that you are not adding a duplicate course? Make the change. In this add course method, how will you check that this course does not exist already? So you're using a courses enrolled array list. You have a new course of type string. Your array list is of type string. Is there a method in the array list class that allows you to check if it already exists? Look up always go for help. Look up your Java documentation. Okay, so let's try. I only want you to add a course if you already have not enrolled in that course. Make sense? Why would you add it again, right? So go to the array list class and tell me if there is a way that I can do it. I don't want to search myself. I mean, I could, but why will I do it if it is available? So I'm basically asking you to look for a method that will allow you to check if it is already present in the array list. So this is an array list of strings, right? You could have done a search yourself. You could have gone through each element of the array list, search the array list, compare this new course you're adding to the already existing courses, and then add or not. You could have done that, but why? Do you see something here in the array list class that tells you that whether that element is already present or that object is already present in that list? Do you see a method right here? You can see it. If you pay attention to what's on here, it is. Do you see a method? Contains. Right? So contains is a method which is saying returns true if this list contains the specified element. Now the specified element in our case is a string, right? That's what we are doing. So now change this code. Take a minute to do it, and if you can, then I'll do it. So here all you've said is add the course. If I can, that means number of courses are less than 10, add it. Add the condition. Only add if you're already not enrolled in the course. How will you do that? So the course name the student wants to enroll in, and you can add a comment here. You can add a comment here. Only allow the student to enroll in a course if, in the description, if not already done so. I'm basically saying let the student enroll in a course if not already done so. How will you do it? So if the array list contains it, we don't want to do it, right? If the array list already contains this new course, we don't want to add this course. How will you check that? You know the method is contains. What should I do? So all I was doing was add it if you have less than 10 course. What should I add now? There's an additional condition. The condition simply says if it does not contain it, right? If it does not contain it. So how do you do that? If. How do you check? It does not contain it. Not. What does not contain it? The array list does not contain that course. Okay. So the name of the method is contains. The name of your array list is courses enrolled. So take your array list, call the contains method. And what are you checking for? You're checking for this new course. Okay. If it does not contain it, and you could have done the and again, I mean, together, it's not very different. I'm just adding it to this one. So if it does not contain it, so not contains means does not contain it, and your courses enrolled size is less than 10, add it. Make sense? So you could have done an and, leaving what we had, I just added a condition above it. You could have said if not courses enrolled contains and size is less than. You can do it. It's fine. The and in Java, is a short circuit and. It checks the first condition. If the first condition is false and it has an and, it won't even check the second condition. It's a short circuit and. So if you write a compound condition or you have an if inside an if, it really doesn't matter in Java, right? Because it is a short circuit and. So if you want, you could remove this if altogether and put an and create a compound condition. This one is saying check. If it does not contain this course and the size is less than 10, add it. That's what it is doing, right? Could I have done the opposite? Could I have put this condition outside and that inside? Yep, really doesn't matter, right? You could have said, if you're less than 10, why even bothering? Why do I even bother that whether it contains or it doesn't contain? You could do that. Maybe that would be a better approach. So you can take this if outside. So you're saying, do I have space? If I have space, if I have the option, then if you don't contain it. So all you will do is you'll pick this up. Just try to see where it will fit better. What will be a better, efficient way of doing it. So again, if you were doing an and, it really doesn't matter. Same thing, except I've switched the conditions. Why even check if you already are full? You have your 10 courses complete. And again, adding it is the same as writing an if inside an if, because and is a short circuit in it. So if you want to combine it, this is all you do. Just combine it. You can just put an and here and you're done. It's as simple as that. Right? You can just replace this with and. I wasn't touching your code, but I mean, I've switched it anyway, so you can put an and it's done. So if courses enrolled size is less than 10 and it does not already contain this course, then add the new course. So the switching of conditions is just checking, I mean, contains, does a scan of the whole array list. So why even do that first? First check, do I have space to add? If you have space to add, then check if it already contains it. So an and will here do too. That's perfectly fine. Oh, sorry. Right? You are aware there is a single and also in Java. There are two ands, a double and, which is a short circuit and a single and also, right? They're both of them. But what doesn't it like? What have I missed? What does it say? Oh, an extra, no. Oh, there's another one. There. The brackets were missing. There were brackets again in the two conditions, but there was no bracket in the if. That was missing. So you can write it here like this also. It doesn't matter. And again, it will check if the size is less than 10 first, and then check if it does not contain, and then add the course. Okay. So again, if you miss something and you test it, like I wrote a tester for it, I'm not going to write testers today in class. I think I'll give you as an assignment. We've done 2 or 3 testers already in class. When I tested it, I then realized that I was able to add the same course, which I shouldn't be able to do. Doesn't make sense, right? You shouldn't be able to enroll in the same course more than once. And so take care of it. What about drop course? Can you do a drop course for me? And of course, the course must exist, right? So do a copy, and we didn't write it last week. Again, this method allows the student to drop a course if he is enrolled in it. Otherwise, doesn't make sense, right? Or you'll say, let the system do it for me. But sure, I mean, it depends on how you want to do it. So you can drop a course if you like. Were we returning a true and a false somewhere? No, we were returning a void. We can always return a true or a false. Students were asking me in the other section, can we tell the student whether he or she was enrolled? Yes, you can. What do? Make the return type as Boolean. Return a true and return a false. What will you do? Is this the copy? No, this is not the copy. Okay, so it's giving you a red squiggly. Here, make it Boolean. Ask me questions and I'll answer them, right? Because, I mean, things can be done. So basically here, what do? So if you were able to add the course, return a true. Like you get the message, you were successfully enrolled in the course. Kind of that. And in all other cases, what would you like to return? Okay, you can even do this. I changed the type to Boolean. As soon as you do that, please put a return here. Return true if enrollment was successful. It is in the out one. It is in the out one. These are the big, I mean, the return false says if nothing happens, just return false, okay? Here, add your return statement. Works perfectly fine. Right? So you can change the type if you like. Nobody stops you, like it's up to you. So who decides the return type is void? The return type is Boolean. Programmer. The programmer decides. Right? So now when you call this add course method in your tester, if you want, you can check whether it was successful or not. I mean, you don't have to, but then what is the use of a return type if you're not going to use it? So you can do that. Can you now write the drop course for me? So is it clear? Try to add all the conditions. Okay, so now let's remove a course. So the remove course I've just copied. All I've done is drop a course. Now, so change this name. We'll just call it old course. Doesn't matter, but I mean the course name or whatever wants to drop. So instead of just say drop here. Right? Definitely can't call it the same. Even overloaded methods need a change. We can call it drop course. Again, if you want to say the return type is Boolean, it depends upon you. Change it again. So we have an at return. True, if successful, if course was dropped, else false. Change the return type to, we called it old codes. Doesn't really matter. It's just better to give them names. And we'll return Boolean. Okay, definitely this is not what we need. You can do a contains also, but let's see. Change the new codes to old codes everywhere. Some errors will go away. Don't worry about the rest for a minute. Okay, so before you drop a course, what do? The first thing you should check is? Okay, that's one, he enrolled. Or maybe he doesn't have any enrollment at all. So if the size of your array list is greater than 0, then proceed. Right? If the size of your array list is greater than 0, then it makes sense to even go ahead. So your first job is the size greater than 0? That's job number 1. I mean, otherwise, there is no course. So what's the sense of even searching? Now 2, the contains. right? Now, do we need to work with contains, or there is another method that will do the same job in the sense it will search and remove it? Do we need to do a double job? First find that it contains and then remove it, or does the remove method itself take care of it? Look at your remove method. There is a remove method. Do you remember we talked about the remove method not being used in a loop? I told you not to use in a loop, but otherwise you can. So remove, there it is. There is a remove object and there is a remove at an index. Now we don't know the index. We don't know where the course is being saved. No clue. But you know the object being removed. So if remove is already doing that job, why do we need to check whether it contains it or not? You know what I mean? Like either way, you can check if it contains it and then remove it, or you can just call the remove method, which is automatically returning a Boolean value. So really doesn't matter. So you could do it, that does it contain it, then remove it, or remove does it automatically for you and returns your Boolean value. So why do double jobs? You know what I mean? Like why do the double job? But if you want to, there's nothing wrong. You'll say, let me first check if it contains it. And only if it contains it, I want to remove it. Sure, you can do that. Nothing, it really doesn't matter. So instead of not, and it contains the old course, right? So the size is greater than 0. The student has a job, has a list of courses, and it contains it. What do you have to do? You have to remove it. But remember, we are sending a Boolean value back. So we can say return. This returns a true or a false. See, that's why I was saying no sense checking the and course enrolled contains, because it returns a true if it was able to remove it and returns a false if it doesn't find it. So you don't have to do the double job. So you'll say, then what's the use? The condition, you won't even go inside it if the condition is not satisfied. So either way, there is like, if I don't say the and condition, then the remove method will this will always take place. Remove will always take place. Whereas if I have this condition and it doesn't contain it, it will not. So this condition is kind of may or may not be needed because this automatically works for you. What is missing? Why do I see a red squiggly? I've done my job. Why do I still see a red squiggly? What is it telling me? What have I missed? Yeah, it's an if statement. It might not even go inside the if. It says, what if the if is not executed? What do I do then? So what do we do then? Return false. There. Now it's complete. What doesn't it like now? Duplicate method. Do I have one more? Oh, we did write it, except we didn't do anything. I mean, we didn't complete it. Oh, oops, I'm so sorry. Okay. So instead of just removing, I've done a few things. Okay, so can I take this out? If you have it, just make a change through this one. I didn't realize it. I thought we never did it. Okay, so all this is what I've done. Again, I've added conditions. So you add conditions too. But as I said, this condition is not very necessary. It is not necessary. In the other one, in the add course, it was a must. In this one, it's okay because remove is doing the job. So what have you saved? It checks the condition. If the condition is false, doesn't go inside. So you have saved the call to remove, right? But you're still calling contains. On the other hand, you call remove. So there is a call to two methods in the other case. So you know what? If I was asking for efficient code, I won't use contains. I'll say the remove is doing the job. Why are you doing a double job? That's what I would say. So in efficiency, if you talk about efficiency with me, I would say I wouldn't do this. It doesn't make sense to me. So you can just leave it here. Like why? Remove is doing your job. I mean, why do double jobs? So don't say just to be sure, do the most efficient. So don't make it foolproof, but make it foolproof in an efficient manner. So here the contains is not required, right, Gautam? Because I mean, I can do without it. Okay. Your name is Gautam? Okay. So you came up with that contains or not contains. It wasn't wrong, but it is not required. There. So the drop course is also complete. So I'm sorry, I didn't realize I had a drop course somewhere down. I just thought I forgot it the last time. And I think that's all the changes I needed to do in student.java. So I improved the code a little, right? Just because, again, as I said, your code must be foolproof. I can still think of things, but we'll do that in the next example. Like things like what happens if the student gives something wrong or right? Here we are okay. There's nothing he can give wrong because everything is a string, But I mean, I can always throw an exception. I'll show you how to throw exceptions today. We'll do something new. We'll do something new. So not in this example. For example, here, I've checked if the new credits are greater than equal. Oh, we did the equal because we were setting it to 0 last time, remember? We were setting it to 0. So I said, okay, we'll do an greater than equal. You can remove it from here. What if the new credits are negative? You're not doing anything. So that's one way of saying I'm ignoring it. Or the other way of saying is putting a message on the screen, throwing an exception saying that the credits provided are invalid, so that the user knows what's going on. So we'll do exception handling in a second example. I don't want to touch this file. Okay. So that takes care of students. So what I have done is now I've given you the other class, which is, so you can save this. I'll put it back on Blackboard for you guys if you want. Okay. And the lab class now. So the lab class has errors. We'll look at it as we go on. Okay. Now a few things that I changed from what you have. You only had this. You only had this. The local time, we don't need local date time. We just need the local time. We are not putting a date with it. I'm just putting the time, right? For me, date is not important. For me, the day is important. I had used this as a enumeration. What was it called? There was a day enumeration, right? I think it was called day. The enumeration is called day in Java. So if you go to, again, always search. It's the best way of doing it. So let's go to java.time. Remember, that was our package. And in the java.time, I think it was the day of the week. There it is, day of the week. So I was using this enumeration, but I kind of thought I'll just concentrate on one thing at a time. There was not a lot I could do in this. The advantage of using an enumeration is clarity. Now your weekdays are Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, right? And two, you can't give a value beyond this. You cannot give anything that is not spelled this way. Their constants are defined. Their constants are defined. So that's one, I mean, you don't have to check anything. You can't go wrong. You can't put something like January in the day of the week. You can't put something like Anju in the day of the week if I make it of this type. So for now, I'm just using the time one step at a time. And there wasn't a lot that I was gaining out of it. So I changed my code, right? So you have this from last week. I've given you more. So the local date timed, of course, was not the right class to use. The local time is the right class to use. And I just changed my day back to string, though you could have used day of week. I'll use it. I'm kind of going slow, one new thing at a time. Just so that I can do quickly things in my tester, I have created an empty constructor. This will remove afterwards, right? This is the easiest. If I have an empty constructor, I can quickly create an object and start working with it. Okay, now let's look at the other code I have given you. So today I have given you code. Stop me and ask me if you don't understand anything. I'm trying to save some time in class. And this is how I'll kind of proceed for the rest of the classes. In the sense, I'll give you code that I think you should know, and we will add new code ourselves. Okay. So the instructor name, the course name, the room number, the capacity, the start time, the end time, and the day have been passed by the user. So it's all here, just the setting. Have I removed anything? No, they're all here. And don't forget, you should initialize your array list. Keep in mind that all objects are initialized to null when you create an object without initializing its instance variables. So all numbers to 0, Boolean to false, character to the null character. What else do we have? Floats and numbers are 0, numbers to 0, and all objects to null. And null means not defined. Null means not defined. Now, if it was a string like instructor name, I wouldn't have bothered to do anything. I mean, maybe initialize it with an empty string. Like that's all I would have done. But when you're working with an array list, all you do when you declare your instance variable is you're declaring them. You say, I will need it. Here is the definition. Here is where you're getting space for it. Unless you get space for it, you cannot add elements to it. You cannot work with it at all. If you miss line number 52, you will definitely get runtime errors if you try to do anything with the array list. As simple as asking its size, because it does not exist. Its value is null. So though it has not been passed as a parameter, I'm not going to pass it as a parameter. This is a lab class. I will add students in this code itself. But please remember to do line number 52 in your code. Many students miss it and then they have no clue what's going on. So it is your responsibility as a programmer to ensure that all instance variables have a value. So if you're okay with zeros and nulls, perfectly fine. But if you want to give them a value, you have to pass them as parameters or initialize them to zero. For example, I did in credits. Do something, or to -1, whatever, but do something. So by default, if you're satisfied with what is, that's fine, don't do anything. But if not, then you have to change it. So this line 52, you say, it's fine, it's null. When I start adding elements to it, it's okay. But you have to ask for space for an array list before you start working with it. You have to initialize your array list. And how do you initialize an object? How do you instantiate an object? By the help of new. You call the constructor. So these are not important. Instructor name was as simple as I could have said instructor name is equal to Anju. Default. Every class is being taught by Anju, though it's not true, but that's what it is. So what have I done? I have initialized all my other variables, but I have also initialized this. Now you could have done it here where you declare it here. Thank you, Nick. You could have done it here, right here, but that's not the norm in Java. You don't define variables where you declare them in Java. You may have seen it in other languages like C++. Like some languages just do it right where they declare it, but not in Java. In Java, all you do is you declare your instance variables and its initialization takes place in the constructor. That's why it is called a constructor. You construct your object. All the initialization happens in the object. So it's not wrong to initialize new array list at line number 21. I would keep away from it. It's not the norm. Don't do it. It just looks odd maybe, but it's not wrong, but you don't do it. Okay, so that is my constructor. Any questions on the constructor? Every time I have set methods, I'll call them in the constructor. Please keep that in mind whenever you do your assignments or you do your test next week. Remember, next week is week 7, midterm, same class, 3 hours, some small program to do. So even if it is not mentioned, this will come under efficient OOP code, because what does object-oriented programming says? Reuse your code. Don't repeat it. Even if it's only one line, don't repeat it. Write it in a method and call the method. So normal set methods. Okay, so I don't think a lot to be done in set instructor name or set the course or set the room number or set the start time. Notice the time is being given to me. Now, what if this time is wrong? That's not the job of this class. The time that needs to be passed to this class has to be a local time variable. Now, there are 2 ways you can kind of handle it. You will say this class will handle it. This class will throw an exception if it doesn't give you the right one. Today, I'll show it to you in the tester. And in my next example, I'll start it in the class. That class will take care if wrong data comes to it, it's going to throw an exception. So this time I'm just leaving it here and I'll show it to you in the constructor, but then we'll start doing it in the class. It's the class job. Though you know what? A class definition, again, there are different viewpoints on this. Some programmers say a class says I'll do my job if the data given to me is correct. Otherwise, it's not my responsibility. That's the design principle. Whereas the other set of programmers say that's the class responsibility that it should validate the data. Not validate. If wrong data comes to it, it should at least say, I won't work with it. So again, there are 2 ways of doing it. You can either do it at the front end. So the tester does it. It checks that the time that is being sent is correct, or your class can do it. The middleware can do it. And again, choose whatever, right? They are both correct. But again, if you want to say that the class is completely responsible for everything it does, then it is better to put exception handling or throwing exceptions in the class. Okay, so I'll show you both. You will see both kind of examples on the web if you try to look for examples. So the set start time, the set end time are here. Now, before I move forward, let's do it step by step. Can the end time be less than the start time? So if the class starts at 9, it cannot end at 8. 8 a.m. So if it starts at 9 a.m., it cannot end at 8 a.m., though it can end at 8 p.m., right? How will you check that? So open your java.time local time class. Look for a method that will allow you to compare the times. So you only set the end time to the value given if it is correct. How will you do it? Try, and then I'll do it for you. Right? I want to I want you to try first. Okay, so go here, go to your local time, go to the methods of the local time. There are a few methods here that will allow you to check. It says compares this time to another time. There is a compare to method. So it allows you to compare time. The compare to method will return you a negative value or a positive value depending upon whether the time is less or greater. So you could use compare to, right? So notice how it says negative if less, positive if greater. So you're comparing a time with another time. And if the time that you're comparing is less, then it will give you a negative value. If it is more, it will give you a positive value. So there is a compare to method that is available. I can use it. There is an is after method that is also available. It says checks if this time is after the specified time. So even this will work for us. So what do you want to check? You want to check if the end time is after the start time. Then you set it. Else what do? Now there are a few options again. You can either throw an exception saying something is wrong, or default set the end time also to start time, which means that something is wrong, right? If the start time and the end time of a class are the same, definitely something is not right. But there is nothing like erroneous in it. You just decided to do that. Now you know there is a method called is after. Use it here. Before you set the end time, use it. How will you use it? So you have to now know how to use it. Okay, use. Try and then I'll give it to you. So check if the end time is after the start time. The method is called is after. It is as simple as it is called after. If that is the case, set the end time. Else, set it to the start time. Okay, so check if. What do you want to check? This end time is after the start time. I'm using start time straight away here, not the get, because I'm going to change my get. That's why. Just use start time here. Though I've always said whenever you want to use an instance variable, use a get method. I'm going to change something. Therefore, we'll stick with it this time. And it's fine. We're okay. But what if not? We have to give it some value. Otherwise, it will get a default value of maybe 12 a.m. or something. Who knows? We don't know. Maybe a variable has its, end time was a start time. It's an object. It will get a null. That's not what we want. And we don't want to leave it to its previous value. Else, what should you do? So you don't need an else necessarily, but I mean, if you want to, you can. You can put an else if you like. Though, I mean, if it doesn't. I want you to set the end time to the start time. How will you do that? Go back to your code. Go back to your help. See if you find a method of putting one time into another. So go back to your code. Look at your methods again. So every time you'll have to do this. So there is a minus hours. Now, off. You can set a time using off. There is a method called off. If you give an int and a minute, it will give you plus parse, plus hours, plus minutes, plus seconds. To string, nope, truncated to. So off will have to work. There's nothing else. There's nothing which will take a time and set it to another time. But we know the off method. Okay, so let's do the off method. Okay, so how do you set it? Else, this is how you set it. I don't have to say this. I just did it because it was in the other line. Okay, what do you want to do? The off method, we'll use the off method, and the off method was a static method. Okay, we want an hour and we want a minute. How do we get this hour and the minute of the start hour? I want to set it to the start hour. So the end time should be the same as the start time. So how do I get this hour? Get the hour from the start time. So take your start time, and there is a method called get hour. Get the hour. And get the minute from where? Same thing. Take your start time and get the minute. And use it. So here you set it to the start time. The default is the start time. If it is okay, if you've given me a right time, as long as the end time is more, you're okay. Otherwise, you set it. Yes, Pratinder. Do you think you can do it? Yeah. Okay, let's try that. These are two objects. Think about it for a minute. These are two objects, and objects are reference variables. Think for a minute. And are they immutable or mutable? You have to see a few things before you can do it. Like in a string, it's an immutable string. Java local time, it's a final class, extends. It is an immutable date time object. Do you know why strings are immutable? Have you heard of it, that strings are also immutable? Do you know about strings? No? Let me try to kind of explain what an immutable object is. So before you do initializations of one object to another, you have to look at a few things. I'll have to try it out. Since I read immutable, I didn't even try it out. This is what I mean by immutable. I'm not sure how many of you know what immutable is, but let me try to explain in layman language. Okay, suppose I have a string variable and I initialize it to Anju, right? So I have a string variable name. Name is pointing to a memory location where you're storing Anju. This is what this means, right? This is what this means. Now, and you do it and it's fine, though you don't pay attention to it. And now you say that please change the name to Anju Chawla. Valid. There's nothing wrong in it. It's a syntactically correct statement. But the change doesn't take place here. The change doesn't take place here. You get a new memory location. Anju Chawla is put into it. And this is broken and this is done. Such kind of objects are called immutable, cannot be changed in place objects, right? Now with strings, we don't care about it because you know what, they're taken care of us and you don't even think about it. But I read that this was an immutable object. The local time was an immutable object. And that's, for a minute, I thought if things like this happen, if I start assigning, right? If I start assigning variables, so I have a start time somewhere. And the start time is kept here, whatever the time is, right? Now you are saying, take my end time. So you are setting it. You have an end time variable and you're saying, give it the same value as assign it to start time. Okay, now, in case of immutable objects, will this cause any problem?
Ma'am, we are not changing the start time. So the link will be same to.
Yeah, both are pointing to the same memory, right? So I'm not changing the start time, which is what the immutable object is, but I'm changing the end time. So I think we are okay. We are safe to do it. Yeah, I think it is safe to do it. If in future I again say that end time is given a different value, now we have to think about it. Suppose now, somewhere, I'm just thinking out of the blue, maybe not even concerned, I try to change the end time. This will no longer, because it is an immutable object, it will start pointing to a new thing and it won't change this time. That's all I'm concerned with. When two reference variables are pointing to the same location, changing one will reflect in the other. You know what I'm saying? So if I change end time now, so suppose you say end time gets start time. So this is your picture. For whatever reason, if after that statement, I say end time is equal to something, I don't think that time will change here. What will happen is this link will be broken. It will go to a new link. That's what it means by immutable. So I think we are safe. I can double check afterwards in a tester. For now, I can put it, but I have to be sure that what I'm doing is correct. Okay. I'm just thinking with immutable objects, you just have to be careful. So I think with immutable, we are safe in the sense, if I try to give it a new value, this link will be broken and it will go to a new time. It won't affect start time at all. It should not affect the start time. If it was not immutable, the change will be done here. If the change is done here, you are also indirectly changing the start time. So I think my thinking is right, but unless I test it, I can't be sure. With immutable objects, you can't. So you are saying, why don't we do this? It looks okay to me. With immutable, I kind of always do what I think is right here. So even this should work, right? This should work. I don't have to do what I'm doing here. The only way of testing it is I'll give it a new value and see and print it out and see what it says. Then I'll know whether this stays or this happens. This should happen. It should go to a new time. It should not change the start time. And if that's okay, then I'm safe. Then I'm okay to use that. Remember, it is different when you assign values in a data type, and it's different when you use them in objects. Objects are reference variables. So they change their location to something new. When it changed its location to something new and something else is also pointing to it, if you change the value through this reference, it also reflects in the other. And that's not what we want. We don't want it here. So I think we'll be okay. But you know what? I know the second one is perfectly okay. There's nothing wrong in it. So I'm going to comment this out for now. I'll test it and I'll answer your question, okay? Whether it will work or whether it will not work. So this is what happens in set end time. So I've set the end time to whatever. As long as it is after, I'm safe. Otherwise, I set it. The set capacity, complete it. This method sets the maximum capacity of the lab class. What should you do? Now you do it. These are small methods. You should be able to do it. Capacity of the class. I haven't said there is a maximum. Is there a maximum capacity? No, we haven't. We could have had a variable called maximum capacity that you cannot go beyond, but the capacity of each class will be different. How do I set it? Shall I simply say this dot capacity is equal to capacity, and is it okay? Is that code enough? It cannot be negative. It has to be positive. That's one. And two, though we don't have a maximum capacity of the whole college, I could have, and we should say that it should be less than that maximum capacity.
The one above it, you just move the code down line so we can see what the end of that line is.
Oh, just the get minute. Sorry, here. Let me ask how small can I go that it doesn't. Oops. I'm trying to see how small can I go so that you can see the whole line together. So the get hour is getting the hour of the start time, and the get minute is getting the minute of the start time. I make an object out of it and I assign it. There is no constructor, by the way, in this class. So I had to use a method. But the other idea was this, and I must have thought something, but now that I draw the picture, maybe I can do it. Are you okay with it? Can I move forward? Okay. So what needs to be checked here? You have to check if the capacity is greater than 0, then do this. Else what? So you could add a condition. So you can put a note for yourself. Can check against maximum capacity also, which we haven't taken. We haven't said there is a maximum capacity, though of course there will be a maximum capacity. The room will have some the college will have a room that cannot take more than 100 students, for example, right? Even our theaters cannot, I think, take more than 100 something students. So there could always be a maximum capacity, very constant. We don't have it, so we are not doing it. What do you think I can do in the else? Do you want to leave it to 0? You could, or again, you could use a default value of say 30, right? So that depends on you. If nothing is asked, leave it alone. If something is asked, add an else. So if you're leaving it alone, you're basically saying 0. You haven't changed it anywhere. Or maybe you changed it and then you again try to change it, it will be at its previous value. So I will always say leave it at its previous value, or I'll say set the default to 30. Depending upon that, you will write the method. So here I haven't said anything, so you can assume whatever. And the assumption is if nothing has been set, leave it. Just leave it where it was. So if I don't say give it a default value of 30, you don't need an else. If I say give a default value of 30, what do you need? Else capacity is equal to 30. So again, it will depend. So this condition was required. Capacity should be greater than 0. Set the day was a string, so nothing, no bothering, no checking at all. With strings, you can check a lot. Get instructor name, I'm sure you know what it means. Get room number, sure. Get course, yes. Here, I would like you to make some changes here. Now, if I have a time, let's see if I return a time, how does it look like on the tester? Let's try to do it in the tester now. Okay, so let's go to the tester. You do it with me so that you can see why I'm doing what I'm doing. Open the tester. Create a local time. Okay, so create a, what was it called? Lab class? Lab class object. And this is where the empty constructor will come handy. Since I have an empty constructor, it's just easy. Then I can only use the set time method. So set a time. I'm just trying to show you how it looks. It says, okay, give me a start time in hours and minutes. We just learned how to create a variable. I'm going to give everything that's okay. So what time is it? 12:49. So it's a 24-hour clock. So we are okay at 12. You have to keep in mind that we work with 24 hours clock. Local times are 24-hour clock. So just for the heck of it, if I give 13, it's basically 1 o'clock. Okay. Okay. So I've created it. Now I want you to print it for me. Print it for me, please. I want to show you how it looks. So take your LB and get your start time. Okay, let's run this tester. All I've done is create a new lab class, and this is why I put an empty constructor. It's very handy when you are doing small testings, right? I set the time to 12:50. You could have used now. You know what? You can do that. It's easier than this. You can say now. You can set the time to now. Remember there was a now function? Do you remember a now method? While we were looking through it, there was a now method. That's much easy to use, even you don't have to bother anything. Where is the now? I think I saw a now. MNOPQRS. There it is. Obtain the current time from the system clock in the default. You can use now also. It's no big deal. That's much easier. Do it that way. You don't even have to bother about anything. It's just a method. Was it a static method? Okay. Okay. So it will pick up the current time and it will set it to the start time, and I want to print it out. Oh, there are errors in the lab class, right? How will it run? What are the errors? Where is this line? Okay. I'll just kind of complete it with return null. Remember, it's returning an array list. So wherever you see an error, kind of come to it. This line, get number of students, return 0. Next line, enroll student, Boolean, return false. Just complete them with garbage for now. So anywhere you have a Boolean, return false or true. Anywhere you have an array list or something going back, return null and 0. At least make it error free. Okay, there it is. Now go to the tester. So in Eclipse, you will see those red things. Just click on it. It will take you to the statement that is incorrect. And I've just completed it because these methods have to be still filled in. Therefore, they were saying error. So I said return null, return 0, return true or false, whatever. Anything else? Look if you have any other red squigglies. Not squigglies, red marks. Now my lab class is complete. Now you can check this. Let's try. Let's try how the date is formatted. And let me know how neat or untidy is that. It's saying 12, 52, 29 nanoseconds and 135, I think, another micro nanoseconds or something. Now, 1. If it was 12:52, for example, I want to see a PM, right? If it is less than 12, I want to see an AM. I want to see AM and PMs. That's how I want my dates. Nobody wants to see dates like this. You could show result as 13:52, but human beings don't understand 24 hours clocks that easily as they understand 12-hour clocks. So now your job is, and this is a bonus assignment, so you have 10 minutes to do it. Format this date for me. I'll give you clues. I'll give you clues of how to do it. See if you can do it, and it's therefore I've made it a bonus. If you can do it, don't stress about it. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Where am I? Okay, now what did I do? Which one are you? Maximize? No. Okay, I am minimizing stuff all over. Where are you now? This one? Okay, nope. Outline. Ah. Okay, which one is you? No, you're not it. What did I do with my... Which one? Okay, yeah, you're right. Where was I? Which one were we doing? BB. We were at lab class. Okay, thank you. Because I'm clicking away with nothing. Okay, here. So let's go to... Where were we now? Get capacity was okay. Here. Take 10 minutes to return the start time in a formatted manner. I want to see AM and PM, and I want to see it in a 12-hour clock instead of a 24-hour clock. That's its default. You can try. In the local time, right now we are okay because it's 12:54. Try to give something like 14, and you won't see 2:54. You will see 14:54. So what can you do? I'll give you hints. You can use a ternary operator. You can always check, are you more than 12, less than 12? Or there is a method in the local time class itself that can format the time for you, which is the easy way out, right? So 2 hints are enough. Choose whatever. You can use an if else or a ternary operator. Check whether you're less than 12 or greater than 12 and do the needful. Or use a method that is already available in the local time class to format your time. You have 10 minutes to do it. It's a bonus assignment. You won't get 10% for it, but I'll collect bonuses and maybe at the end of the semester, you'll get something out of it. Give it a try if you want to. I'll show you both solutions. Independently, right? Bonus marks are independent marks. So instead of just saying return start time, I want you to return the time in a formatted string, which will show me AM, PM, and 12-hour clock. Right now it doesn't. Notice what we had in the output box. Do you remember? So let's try it now. Now is only 12:55, so it looks okay. Try after 5 minutes and it will show you 13, which is so untidy. We don't want to see 13. We don't understand what 13 means. So format your time before returning it. So till now, this is all we've done. Return, return, return. See, now I'm changing the get start time method. So therefore, I didn't use get start time in my other option, in my other code. I didn't want to use the format. See if you can do it. So you get bonus marks only under 2 conditions. 1, you're either using a ternary operator, 1 line to do it, or you are using an inbuilt method to do it. Those 2 options. I don't want to see 15 lines of code. I'm looking for 1 line of code. A ternary operator or a method. Whatever makes sense to you. Once you do it, then I'll do it. Because I've already tried it, I know the answer. One line code for bonus marks. Remember a ternary operator? We did it in class. If it's an if else. That's all you have to check. If less than 12 or greater than 12. Attach AM and PMs to it. Or there is an easier way. There is a method available in the class that will do it for you. Once you know one, the other one, copy paste, nothing else. Both have to be changed. Instead of just returning start time, format the start time and return. Show it in a 12-hour clock with an AM and PM. Right now it is a 24-hour clock. I want you to show it as a 12-hour clock, hours, minutes, AM or PM, whatever is the time. Right and right.
So we needed to the return string, right?
Yeah. That's why I said there are 2 ways of doing it. You can check what is the value. Is it greater than 12, then it is a PM. If it is less than 12, it is an AM.
For at the time, right?
Of this time.
So we'll start the time
And
both.
both, yes. You do one, the other one is the same thing. Once you know how to do one, you can always do the other. Own work, please. I've given you a hint enough. Use a ternary operator or use a method that is already available in the class. If something is already done, use it. Do you know how 24-hour clocks work? Do you know that, right? They go from 0 to 23. So above 12, it is PM. Below 12 and below 12, it is AM. Done? So only bonus marks for 1-line answers. Don't write a full if else is for me. Okay. Setting it now. It is, yeah, it is not okay. So let's see what it is. Oh, okay, okay. Start time is now. Okay. Yes. Seems very simple going on, right? Yeah. No time. I'm exactly trying to think about that in the video.
It's not over.
Okay, so we started with the start time now. We changed it 11:0, so it should be that. Set it now, which it did. And then you said, okay, show me your code then. It is something. What did you do? End time is after this. Oh, here, come back. End time is going to start. There is the problem.
No.
Yeah, if it is
No,
after.
it's
Oh, it's
after.
after, okay, sorry, yes.
This
Yes,
one.
okay. As do what? This dot end time gets this dot stop.
Okay.
Okay, let's try it again. Let's see, set to local time, we will print out object start time and date time. What is going to be this? So at this point of time, what is the end time of this time?
This time?
Yeah, at this moment, what is it?
Because we have
At end time?
it's not after.
What is it? Is it null?
No, you are just passing.
End time, but you haven't passed anything, is what I'm saying. Oh, you haven't said it. Okay, come back. I know what's that. You got the empty construction, right? We started with the empty construction. Okay, so you've said, but you haven't said end time and you're getting it out. So what, yeah, because it's going in the end. Null. You're trying to compare null. Yeah, but come back to the code. Let's try to print out something. So let's, if else, let's try to print out something. We know where it's going. I have to think about it because that's what I was trying to do. Okay, so let's do system of printing. Just take it out. And look at it is after left that. Maybe by default it's on there is null or something. It does something. You know what I mean? Like you have to look at how is after is also. And I haven't tested this, therefore I'm kind of not so sure. Therefore I found it difficult. Okay, let's see. Let's try to do this. That's okay.
It's running after.
Yeah, and the S. It's gone to the S.
Yes.
It has not been yes.
But now it's segment, but it's setting to 1.
So that's another thing to be seen. But why is it going to the else is one thing to be seen first, right? How is it comparing? Both of these after that. If it has not been set, what is the default value? So it's going to be else one. Okay, both of these after method in your Java thing. I want to see the Java method. What is it? Java is one. Not null. Oh, it is saying that the input should not, is after this should not be null, but doesn't say anything about what it is right now.
They are using this as a start time.
So this is okay, this is not. So you're not getting a null conflict. So what is the thing with the current?
What is the question? Okay, come back to your code. Let's put print here. Where you said the end time, let's do a system of print and of end time, right? Before. I want to see what is, yeah. In the beginning, right in the beginning, before that. Okay, yes. Okay, so now let's show the end time. Just the end time, the variable end time. I want to see what it is when it goes here inside this set box.
Yes.
No, no, yeah, plus end time. Okay, yeah, I want to see what it is. Exactly. That's what is happening, right? You want to see if it is not.
That's what I want to see.
Yeah, but
This is before second.
yeah, but I want to see what's happening in the method. Just to see, you know. Whatever.
Because I said it.
No, this. Oh, so something is going on here. Okay. So we created a new class. We start time to now.
This is the end time, this one.
No, this one, this thing I will be the header. This is there. Okay, so what has it done?
The first time is from this.
Yeah.
Second is from this.
No, no.
Third is from this.
It has a breaking point.
Yes, this is from this.
Go back to it. This end time. Yeah, so when you have done the method, what is the value of it? Okay.
No, it run the method after that.
Okay, do one thing. You have got the set start time method, right? Okay, show me the value of end time in the start method. You want to see what is the value of that. You see what I'm trying to do now? This method. It should be null, right?
No, and time. You want to do
End time is null. Okay, so when it is null, how can you compare is how is afterwards?
It's null, it's only level, then we are just calling it system of print and time.
Or show me a get end time, maybe there's something to get end time by any chance? Have you changed that method for bonus marks? Come back to get end time. Yeah, see, you're returning the start time. That's why. We'll look at it, okay? We'll look at this thing afterwards, what we are trying to do. But
It's
your
an
last,
exception now.
now it makes sense, okay? Because it should throw an exception, right? It should, now we'll try, what I'm trying to do, we'll have to set it first and then we'll have to compare it first. So definitely you should have got an exception, which you weren't, but now you're
Yes,
getting.
it's setting it. now.
Yeah, because you're comparing with null.
Yes, after setting we can do override also.
Yeah, we'll have to see if I can assign it here. It depends on you. You have to do it, right? You don't need to go past date. There's an easy way out. With ternary operator, all I have to check is whether the value is less than or greater than 12. If it is an if else. 2 more minutes, guys. We've already more than 10, but that's okay. We started at 55. If you're successful, you will be like this. And if you're not, then it won't happen. Which is okay. When you see it, you'll say, aha, I know, that's okay. Don't worry. Therefore, I made it a bonus just because I don't want you to lose marks. Maybe once you've seen it, now in future, you'll be able to make better sense out of it. So I'll show you both ways. I'm sure you will select the way that is easier. And then please be honest in letting me know if you've done what is to be done. Is still showing you 10 and 480 and 10 right? Nothing. I just have to show 1 and 9. What have you set it to? Okay, to now. So you just use a percentage F and it's showing you in a formatting manner. Remember, I've said I need to change in these methods. Okay, so okay, let's see. Start time get how many? is less than 2. Then I want to show start. Yeah, that looks okay to me. The percentage F there is not required. Why did you put a percentage F? Why did you put a print F there?
Because when we put up actual values, we use ln.
Sure. No? It's still showing A or B.
But in the starting it will not work. So that's why you use f.
No, LN will work. The only thing is I don't want to see a 58 and 602, right? Let's look at your get start time again because of the now maybe it's over.
So ln is equal. It will again show this thing.
And with that it is not showing it.
With that it will show.
So what is the difference there?
In the starting when I use this one, it will not show but now.
Yeah, because your logic is not coming from there, your logic is coming from here, from eternity of it. But we don't want to see the milliseconds just because I think now takes everything, that's why, which is okay. Which is okay. Date from okay, so what have you used? I need the aim afterwards and you should come into minutes should always show in 2 digits. Remember M with 1 with 2 on MF. I know, yeah, but M should be 2 MM. Oh, it's working with 1 also? Okay, I tried 1 was working on, I have 2 were needed. I did with 2, yeah? No, not with H. With H we want 1 because we don't want to see a 0. But with M I think, what if it is a single digit? What does it do then? Suppose instead of 10 it is 3, the minute is 3, it will look odd. Okay, so go back, where are you testing it? Where? Yeah, how will I see? I want to see instead of 110, I want to see 103 for example. That's what I mean. Yeah, so where are we testing it? You know what I mean? You're okay because your minutes are 2 digit. What if it is 1 digit? I think it will look odd. You don't want to say 1:3. You want to say 1:0. That's why you need an F. Okay? It's looking okay now because your now time is okay. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah, exactly. So therefore you use 2. Okay? Okay, guys, let's see the answers. Let's do the easy way first. If you were able to use the ternary operator, 1 line, or you were able to use the format method of the class, you're good for your bonus marks. Okay, so be honest. Okay, so this is what you do. You can format your date. There is a format method already present in the class. I don't have to do anything, but it requires a date time formatter. Now, what is this date time formatter? This was another class, right? All you have to do was go and check as to what it is. Okay, so let me do. So it says, give me the formatter. How do you want to show your date? Let me know. So I'm saying I want to show my date in this format. So use the date time formatter. It's not so tough here. So there was a format method, F. Here, this was it, right? Click on it. It says I will format it according to the date, the formatter string you give me. Go to this class. And here are how you can show everything. So there are some that are already available, but I'm interested here. So if you want to show the word AM or PM, put a small a. If you want to show the hour of the day in 23-hour clock, put a capital H. We don't want the capital H because we want to show it in a small one. Put the small h for a 12-hour clock. Put the M for a minute. So everything is here. So all you do is go back here and say, what is the formatter? So this, my formatter is, and I'm going to use off pattern. This is how you do it to create it. And what is your pattern? So it depends upon what you've done. This is what I am doing. I want to show the pattern. I'm saying, show me the H, then show me the minutes. I'm putting H as a single digit because if it is 1 o'clock, I don't want to say 01. If it is 12 o'clock, it will automatically give me 12. But I don't want to show a 0 in front of an hour, which is only a single digit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. I don't want to show 09. If you wanted to show 09, do an HH. Okay. What do you want to say with M? If it is 10 or more, 10 minutes, 11 minutes, we are okay. But what if it is 3 minutes? Do you want to see a 3 or do you want to see a 03? A 03, right? So therefore MM. And at the end, I want to write the word A. It will show me AM or PM. That's all you need to do. And what is missing? Off pattern, off pattern. Oh, the return type. The return type. Instead of the return type being local time, what is it now? It's a string. Since I told you to do it,
I don't want to return something like a local time. It looks very odd. And your job is done. That's it. Format your time according to the pattern H for hours, MM for minutes, a blank so that like a blank, and then AM or PM, A. That's one way of doing it. And it will work. Right? And you will do the same thing here. You will format your get time same as you did here. So instead of return time, whatever, you will use and it will format it. And it will format it. And of course, you will have to make the return type as string. This is the reason why I was not using my get methods in my code, because I knew I was going to change it to a string. Yes, Pratinder. Thank you. Now, oops. There. Now there is a, yes.
Is there any method like we pass the string like 6:45 p.m. and it saves us in this local time?
The only methods that I saw were off, but there is something. Now that you ask, I think you could give a string and it was changing it. Check up methods. Like nothing. I think I've seen something. Let me see. Let me see. Or, so if you have this one single line and you've used the format method, you are okay for a bonus mark, definitely. Right? So this is one way of doing it. So if, let me know when you go for break that I got a bonus. Or two, there's another way. Like maybe, you know, not everybody, but here, there's another way. Using the ternary operator. Okay, so let's return using the ternary operator. So of course, I'll use one, but here. So this will work. This definitely will work. You can try it in your tester actually. Here, where did you do it? Where you did a get start time? Oh, now it should work, right? So did I do anything else? I commented it out. This should work. Okay, let's test it. Run your tester. Uh-oh, cancel. Here, what line? Oh, 2 semicolons. Okay, there. There, 1:16 p.m. That's all I wanted from you. Now, if you like, that's what I wanted. So with this format, it will show absolutely neatly. With your if statements, you will see the nanoseconds and the seconds. But that's how it is, right? So this is a better way of doing it. But anyway, that's not wrong. But let me show you then. So if you have used this, you are definitely in for a bonus. The other way that I said you could do was the ternary operator. Okay, let's try the ternary operator. And I'll tell you what the drawback in the ternary operator is. So what is the ternary operator? You want to check if my hour is less than 12, it is AM. If it is equal or more, it is a PM. But you have to subtract 12 from that. So if it is 13, you have to do 13 minus 12. You should get an answer of 1. If it is 14, you should get 14 minus 12. Right? So let's do it. Okay, so what is your condition? You are checking if your, where are we? Start time. If your start time, that's what I'm checking. What is the value of your start time? Get its hour. And if it is greater than 12, you could check either less than or equal to 12 or greater than 12. What do I want to do? Else, what do I want to do? So if it is greater than 12 or less than or equal to 12, you can use anything. I mean, this small change is fine by me. I mean, it really doesn't matter what you use, as long as the logic. Okay, so if it is less than 12, what is it? AM? That's what it is. It is an AM. So return. Take your start time and concatenate AM with it by putting a blank also so that it looks neat. Like that. Else, what do I do now? So less than 12 is okay. It is an AM. What about greater than 12? 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, and so on till 23. What do I do about those? I have to subtract 12 from it and then show it, right? Okay, so how do you subtract 12? There is a method that is available. I mean, you have to look up methods. Okay, so take your start time. There is a minus method that is available. Subtract 12 from it. Now, oops. Okay, so take, and is that minus? Minus hours, thank you. Because I don't remember it off my head, the methods. Okay, so minus hours from it. And is it giving, I don't think it is giving a toString. We'll have to convert it into a string. That's what I have done actually. I could be wrong, maybe it's not required. And plus add PM to it.
There is another one case.
Another what?
12. 12. 12 is different.
Come again, which method? Sorry.
Actually, we want to check 12 also because the time is 12 or 12:30.
Oh, you mean the temporal? You've used this one? No, okay.
I totally operate that enough. Actually, we need to check the hours 12.
Is equal to 12.
It's
Oh.
different actually. We need to, if we to 13 and 14, we need to minus.
Yeah.
But if we 12, we.
Oh, yeah, then it will become a 0.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so we
yeah,
do
right,
not
right.
use, yeah.
Yes, we have to say less than 12 is okay. Then we have to do an equal to 12 and then we have to do a greater than 12. Right, right. There are 3 cases, right?
Yeah.
Yes, yes. So ternary operator, you're right. He's bringing out us that he says with a ternary operator, and he's fine. He's correct. So if else is also not a big deal. But anyway, he says what happens if it is exactly 12? It will be when you subtract 12 from 12, you will get a 0. Right? So that too, you can actually have a nested ternary inside it. You can still use ternary, but a nested ternary. Yeah. So yeah, you're right. With less than 12, I'm okay. If it is exactly 12, then it will show a 0. That's not what we want. We have a small problem. That's okay. Then convert it into a string. And so let's see how this is looking right now. So notice the only problem when you are using now and using the ternary operator is you will also see the seconds and the nanoseconds, because that's what now has, right? With the format, since I've said I want to see hours and minutes, I was okay. In this one, since, or you'll have to do more work with it. But even if you're getting this, I'm okay with it. I'll still give you marks with it because it's fine. It's showing you as 121. Oh, and another thing, the 01. Because you see, then I'll have to again put more stuff. So what is the easier one? The format is the easiest. With this one, you have to do 2 more things. The seconds, the nanoseconds, and then the 01 is looking odd. It would be nice just to see a 1. But if you have it, if you have this ternary operator, I'm still okay. At least you thought about it, right? And another mistake that Jin Young is pointing out is what happens if it is exactly 12? He's right, it will show a 0. So you should take care of that too. But still, I'm okay with it. I'll still give you bonus marks if you have thought of this at least. You have put your head to it, right? So definitely bonus marks for the format and bonus marks for this statement also, though I know you are seeing a 01 which is looking odd and we haven't taken care of the 0 hours. I'm okay with that too. It's not a big deal. At least you're thinking. My aim is you're thinking, right? So any of these 2 statements, I'll give you marks. Okay, so when you go for a break, let me know. So what I'll do is I'll kind of keep it here, but this is not 100% correct. You know what I mean? Like I still have to take care of that 0 that was pointed out, and that was a good observation. I didn't think of it. I just thought, oh, less than 12 or greater than 12, but what about equal to 12? What if I put it greater than equal to here, less than 12? No, we have to take care of the 12. When it is exactly 12 something, I have to take care of it. With the ternary operator, I'll have to do more work. Okay, but that's okay, no big deal. So since this is kind of more work and not 100% correct, I'm not going to use it. I'll use the easy way out. And why not? I've always said reuse. Why will you reinvent the wheel when it's already done for you? That's one of the uses of oops, right? So if you want to see it, I'll leave it for you. Do you want to see it? Though it's not 100% correct. But I'll remove it afterwards for sure. For now, I'll leave it if you want to see it, okay? So I'll just move to the right. If you're copying it, I'll just remove the return statement so that you can at least see more of it. But definitely I would pat your backs for if you've used the format method. You're thinking, right? And this is very important in Java, to use methods that are already available. Like if something is available, why not use it? Okay. Okay, so this will come on Blackboard, but this is not complete. This, I'll leave it just so that you can see it. And I did the same with get time. Again, it was the same thing. Not a big job. If you know one, you know them all. Let me see if there is anything. Oh, there are more methods missing. Get day was okay. So that was a simple one. Anything else that was missing? Maximum capacity of class, okay. The number of students, okay. Fill it up. Remember, you're revising your array list too. Number of students. Will you do a whole traverse of the array list? Nope. What should you do? What is the name of your array list? Courses enrolled, I think. No, things seems like something else. Where are we? Lab class, students, thank you. We are in the students class, not the other class. Students or students? Students? Dot. What do you want? Size, that's it. Single statement. Job done. Number of students enrolled. Why will I do it again? I shouldn't be doing it again. What did we do with student? Okay, now remember the same student cannot be enrolled in the lab class again. You have to give. Okay, what about this one? Give me the whole array list. What do you want to give back? Students. I know it is untidy, but the method is fine. There's nothing wrong in it. The toString method should take care of all the needness. So that's another method. Now this is important. Enroll the student in the class. Enroll the student in the class. Keep in mind, you cannot enroll the same student twice in the class. You cannot go beyond the, is there a capacity for the lab class also? Yes, you cannot go beyond the capacity of the class. Think about it and then I'll code it with you. I know it's a little tough than a straightforward one, but that's okay. I don't know. Now this is a mess. Okay, enroll a student. The whole student object is coming to you. We've just learned the contains method. We've just learned it, right? So if your students list already contains this student, don't do anything, else add. Right? We just learned contains. We just found out how we do it. So just enroll the student. Okay, so what do you do? If not your students contains this student, we're okay. Is there a capacity? Yes. So you can add your and right here itself. Oh, do you want to do the capacity first? Yes, let's do the capacity first. Just because it makes no sense in adding. Okay, so what's your, take your student's size. You can call the method actually. What was that called? Get maximum number of students. You can call that method. If the student size is less than the capacity and it does not contain it. What was it called? Let's call it. It's better to call methods than to use it. What was it called? Get something. Control space bar. Get number of students. Here, let's use it. Where we can use it, we should be using it. So get number of students enrolled if it is less than capacity and you don't have it already. Let's put it in a different here. Maybe you can see better now. Here. Make sense? So if the size is less than the capacity, what doesn't it like? I haven't yet finished it. That's okay. And the number of, and it does not contain the student. What should you do? You should just add it and return true. Okay, so add the student. Now it's easy. Add the student and return true. Uh-oh. Good job done. Can't enroll the same student twice in a class. So it should not be contained. Contains method is available, then how easy is it? You don't have to do much at all. We'll do the remove in a minute. Okay, so this was the class where I hadn't send remove a student. The toString is kind of complete. You don't have to bother. In this one, I chose to do a for loop just because we had done the join method last week when Sakura had pointed out. Here, I just used a for loop that Pratinder was trying last week. You have both answers now, so you can pick whatever you like, okay? Now you write the remove student. Try. Yes.
I think that this content is not proper for this condition because maybe it will check reference instead of value, I think.
No, the contains method automatically will take care of what you pass it, the object.
Yeah, but we need to check value inside the object.
Now, keep in mind, if I was passing I'm passing the whole object with it, right? I'm passing the whole object. Oh, you're talking about, okay, let me think for a minute what you're saying. I'll have to double check with it because I know what you're saying with reference variables, But contains, okay, let's look at what contains does. Yeah, it does. Give me a minute. Oh. I'll have to think. Give me a minute, okay? Contains. I think it will work as far as I remember.
Yeah, because it's object.
Specified element. It's not talking about addresses. So I don't know how it works internally. I know what you are saying in terms of references, but how it works internally, I'm not sure. It says it checks for the specified element. So it's automatically, I think, it's taking the contents from inside that student and checking it. That's my thinking, because it says specified element here. You know what? We can double check in tester. That's the only way we can check.
As I think inside the contain method, maybe they will call equals method, I think. But if we use string, it's no problem. They will check.
But then we'll have to create the student object here. You see why I passed a student object? Because this is a whole object to be added. If I pass his or her ID, then I'll have to create the rest of the student object here, and I don't have other information like his name or whatever. The job of creating the student object is the student classes. I can check I know what you're saying. You're saying that if you're passing the whole object, does it check if the contents inside it are here, or whether it checks the address is here, right? Yeah, I see what you're saying. The only thing with me, I'm thinking, I can't pass just the ID here, because I need to add a student object inside the class. Or I'll have to call the student class from here. Yep, I know what you're saying, but I think I'm okay, because I should have checked this. I've already written my tester, right? But I'll still satisfy you, definitely, right? We'll do it in the tester. So what is being pointed out here is you're passing a whole, I'll give you a break. Before we write remove, I'll give you a break, right? What is being pointed out here is, since an object is being passed, and objects are passed by reference, right? And objects are passed by reference, will the contains work properly? I think it will, from what I understand of array lists, right? Because see, what are you passing? It is a reference variable, that's fine, right? So you have a student somewhere. This is what you have somewhere, right? This is what you have somewhere, right? Now, when you're using the contains method, it checks the contents of this in its list. So it is an array list which is pointing to whatever. It does not check the address of this element is equal to address of this element. It checks the contents of this element are equal to the contents of this element. Contains does that. So it picks up these contents, looks through each of these elements and sees if the contents are somewhere else. It's not matching addresses. It's checking the contents. If the contents are already there, it does not add this reference here. If it is not here, it adds this reference here. This is what I think will happen.
I think the address is
The contains is checking addresses, is what you think?
Yeah, maybe if we add the content in the address.
No, we are talking about contains. Contains is important first. The add works perfectly. There's no problem here. The contains is what can cause the problem. You're saying contains should compare the addresses, right? Okay, we can prove it in 1 minute. We can prove it in 1 minute in the tester, right? Let's create a student, add it, take another student and add it and see what happens. We'll know. For sure we will know. We can do that, okay? Else we return a false, right? We'll take a break here. We'll do the delete. We'll drop a student afterwards. Like, it's an odd thing to say drop a student or delete a student, but we'll do afterwards. But I'll answer your question right away. Let's do it. You can take a break, guys. I'll do it in the tester and I'll satisfy your answer. I'll do that. Okay, so we have a student, and yeah, take a break, guys, 20 minutes. Let me see. So we have a student. Thank you. We have a student. We are passing name, ID, program name to it. Okay, let's do that. Yes. What do you have, Pritinder? I'm trying to see if I can do this. Create a new student. What was it? Name, ID, and whatever.
Just copy paste.
Name,
and
ID, and
replace.
program name.
Name ID.
Name, ID, and program name. Okay, so
It's okay.
yeah, it doesn't matter. Okay, so now this student, and there is a lab class. Let's enroll this student, right? Okay, the lab class enroll student. And let's say S1. Okay, so that's one job done. Oh, it's returning a value, right? So let's print out,
True or
let's take a true or false. So can I print out true and false in a system out println? I've never tried it.
Yeah.
Can I? True or false?
It will say 1 or 0.
Will it?
Yeah.
Are you sure?
You can try it.
Yeah, I've never tried it, right?
In PHP it was showing.
Yeah, the
one.
PHP
We
is
just did in,
different.
this morning.
Yeah, the PHP could be different, guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so this should return a true,
You have to
right?
remove
You have to
that.
remove that.
Format it.
Oh, yeah. Okay, now let's try what's happening. Oh, null pointer exception somewhere. Oh, no. Oh, no. Why is it saying a null pointer exception at main lab class tester? Student.size.
You're not using this.
Yeah, I'm not using this. What's happening? So see, println is doing something else maybe then.
Can you just store in Boolean variable?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do.
Could you,
Yeah.
could you upload the class?
These the ones that we've just finished? Okay, I will. No problem. No, I'm getting a runtime exception at 189, 208.
And 17 here.
The
It's
tester
good
is
with
okay.
them.
Can you go to enroll students?
So that's one for sure.
Enroll students.
Enroll
in
students.
lab class. Yeah.
Oh, you know what? That one is calling
Yeah.
get number of students
Yeah.
enrolled. That's the one that is calling. So students.size. Oh, I know what I've done. The problem is here. In the null constructor, I haven't done it because I never needed it. There, forgot here. Here, this should be there for sure. Okay, because I wasn't using it. I just put in what I was using. Okay, let's try this. Okay, so false.
False.
Oh, false. Ah,
We have to check it here.
Enroll students. enroll
false. So that maybe then,
Go to enroll students.
yeah, what he's saying is right. It's checking the reference. Maybe Janyong, maybe that's what it is doing. Where is it? Okay, so I should get a true, right?
Yes.
If it is less, oh, capacity is 0. Oh, shoot. See, the capacity is 0.
Yeah, we did not.
See, this is what happens when you try to do shorthands. Okay, so the capacity is 10 now. Okay. True. Okay, so the student got enrolled, right? Okay, let's try to enroll him again. Now we should get a false,
Yeah.
right? Now we should get a false. I have this
Yeah.
Anju, right?
We're supposed to.
We should get a false. So I created a student object. I added that student to the lab.
It's true.
It's true.
Because same instance,
Yeah, yeah.
we need to make another instance.
No, for the same student S1. I'm now trying to enroll him again.
Ah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Okay.
Yeah,
I
default
see.
instance, same content.
Yeah,
I am
okay.
talking about.
Okay, now I see what you're saying. Okay, so he says
Yeah.
create another student.
Yeah, because the same instance.
Yeah, it's the same instance.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're saying. Now that will cause a problem.
No, there should be two students with same name,
So here-
same
But
program.
same number with not same number.
Yeah, so
It will be checked there only, na?
in
Yeah.
the students when we are creating.
So this should be false, but it won't be a false. It will be a true.
Yeah.
But when
Yeah.
you create a student with same number, we have not checked there. We have to check it there.
We have to put a condition in students. Yeah, in the
So
constructor
we
that
need to check
The ID should not be
individually.
same.
Same.
Yeah.
ID
Because
should.
there can be two students with same name, same,
Same
program,
program.
just
ID is
same
different. Yeah, we haven't
Yeah.
imposed that rule that IDs have
We
to
have
be
to
different.
check
Ah,
that in
IDs
students.
have. Yeah, but I think to answer your question, we'll know reference.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, they're referencing,
Yeah,
right?
because if we load data from
Yeah.
the database,
For that,
Yeah.
it's just like
it's
two different
maybe
students.
instance will be different, I think.
References are different. S1
Yeah.
and S2 are different references.
Yeah, so
Ah, right. So what do we do?
We have to
We-
check in students class that
Yeah,
they don't
while-
have the same ID. that's
ID,
all.
right?
yeah, while creating.
And then when we enroll a student, we check the ID and not the whole thing.
No, it will be checked in students only. Na?
No, why? See, no, when we enroll. Yeah,
Okay.
enroll, right. So where is the student enroll here?
Why to check it here? We should check in the students.
No. We'll do it there, but when we, in the lab class, the contains should not contain, we have to check if the student with the same ID is present.
Yes.
Right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we have to
Yes,
change
yes,
it, right?
yes.
Okay, now where did we enroll a student here? Where is the enrolled? Oh, this is just a student.
In
yes,
lab class.
This in this.
Okay,
when
not in this. Okay, so here we don't do anything. When
We
you-
have to do it here also, ma'am. Like set student ID.
No, we can't do it here.
If someone try to create with same number, same
This is a
ID, we
student
will-
object.
We will stop him that this is already done. You cannot do again. While-
You cannot stop that. You can create as many student objects with the same ID as you like. When you add them to the lab class, there is where you will ensure that they are not
No, like
duplicates.
ma'am, we cannot enroll in this college with the same student.
But
ID.
is student class enrolling you? Think about it. Is student class enrolling you?
Okay.
The lab class is enrolling you. So the lab class
So
will
we
not
can
allow
have- We
it.
can have the same
ID
number.
outside, yeah, but we
Yeah.
have to take care of that too.
Yes. ma'am.
or maybe we need to override the equals method, I think.
The equals method?
No.
Like
Sorry.
Huh.
Yeah, I mean.
How can we ensure in the student class that we don't allow a duplicate? But you can do that.
Yes, because
We
we
can-
can be in different colleges and with the
Yeah,
same
you can
name.
do that. Remember, student is a class that creates a student. You can't do it here. You will have to do it in the enroll student.
But if you will do there, like he will have a different name, I will have a different name.
No,
But
in the
we-
lab class now, when we are adding a student, where is enroll student? Okay, come. Something
I
came.
think we can override equals method.
Where?
Equals method.
Equals method
Yeah, right.
in the student?
Yeah, right.
What were you trying to think in it? Okay.
First, actually, if we want to use a content like this, right? Contain. Right? Yeah.
This is add a course. Student
Yeah.
has nothing to do with.
We need to
Okay, let's see.
override.
What is he saying?
Yeah. Equal.
What does it return? An int? Does it equals return an int?
Yeah.
Okay.
Equal.
It could be returning an int less than -1, 0, and 1.
students.
What? 2, don't 2.
And one more?
Yeah.
Okay. What are we trying to do?
Don't 2. Oh. 2.
Get ID?
Yeah, get student
ID.
ID
Uh-huh.
equals
Which object now?
student.
Student?
Yes, student ID.
But
You are
same.
validating
This
same.
this dot this.
This. Yeah, right.
That's
Yeah,
okay.
This.
Uh-huh.
And then,
Remove the student word student then.
yeah, oh,
Only this. Remove student, right?
No.
You're trying to say this is equal to this.
yeah.
Remove student.
remove student.
Yeah, not this. You're comparing the student's ID with whatever you're
This
calling
dot
it.
Ah,
Give me a minute.
this just this here,
Yeah,
right?
yeah, right?
Oh my god.
Okay, so what are we
I-
doing?
And then that's me. And then which override. Override. Yeah, I think.
Okay, so now what will you do? That means the signatures are wrong. Something to do
It's
with
not override.
It's not over, right?
It's
It's
not
not
override.
override.
Opal implement. Let's see. We'll know. Okay, which class?
Yeah.
Object, right?
Yeah,
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I get it.
Yeah.
The other thing is, I'll tell you what we can do. Oh, MN, peak, LMNO, objects.
it's better to check a directory. I think.
Java.lang.
ऐसे कोई फायदा क्या होगा?
But as I remember,
Ma'am, it's the
I
same. Like
heard-
we cannot create
Yeah.
two students with the same
Yeah.
ID, but we can.
Yeah.
We can create. We will be able to create. So instead of he's writing an
Yeah.
equals here, you can do it in lab class. When you add a student, when you enroll
Ma'am,
a
like-
student,
This could be
You
concept
check the
for one
ID.
Yeah,
college.
because
Ma'am.
I heard when we when arrays check the content, they use the equals method. So if you use string array, it's no problem to check.
check. Yeah, I know. Yeah, I
Because
know.
the different address because
Yeah.
string class override
Yeah.
this method. That's why.
So basically
Yeah.
here, instead of saying student contains,
Yeah,
we
right.
should take this student,
Yeah.
check his ID
Yeah.
against the IDs in
No,
the.
ma'am,
Yeah.
like if
We will-
we are the two student
Ma'am.
objects, Nirav and me, we have the same ID, so we can't enroll in this.
Yeah, we cannot. No,
We are two different.
you can't have the same ID in the same college.
We have
That's
to
what-
check that also, no? Like
Yeah, but remember when we are here, when we are talking about this student and this lab class, we are talking about this students in this lab class in this college.
Not in other college.
Yeah, you can do that. Then that application is different. So here we can't say contains. We'll have to do
Yeah.
compare the IDs and the IDs
Ma'am,
and
if it's
then.
Yeah,
in the
right.
same college, then
That's
in the
why
student
we
class.
did. If we usually if we use this one,
No, I can't use contains. I'll have to say
Yeah.
student
I
equals ignore case ID and ID.
yeah.
Yes, that is what I'll have to do.
I think it's.
Is there a
No, ma'am.
method?
Create
Ma'am,
an
if it's
array
in the
list of
same
students
college-
in lab class.
It's in the same college, then students can't have same ID. Also.
Yeah, but remember that's true. You can't do that in when you're creating a student. How will we do that when we are
Yeah,
creating a
ma'am.
student?
when I enroll, I am like enroll.
And you get an ID.
enrolling, I am like
Registering.
getting a student.
Yeah, yeah.
I get the ID.
Yeah.
And I don't get the same ID because
Cannot,
it's in
yeah.
the same. So we have to do that.
But
with
where?
student- in
Where?
the student
How?
class.
How?
Like we can.
How? Yeah, the
very
better
good.
place would be there. When you create a student, you cannot create a student with the same ID. But how?
Like we can check if the student ID is same. Then
With against what? You don't have an array list there. Against what?
You created array list in lab class.
Can I see?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, maybe. I think my ID is right. Oh, cannot see inside of our list.
What do you want to see? The method?
Yeah.
then
I
we
want.
can check it here also, ma'am, in lab class. Then if they
Yeah.
want to have
Yeah,
Here,
I
the
want to
same-
see our list too.
Here, this is the contains.
Yeah.
Returns true if this list contains a specific more form. Yeah, but
Yeah,
that's
right. They use the equality method. So if we want to check
See, such that O is equal to null,
null
E
or
gets null.
and E O equals
E is
equal-
what? What is E? Okay, at least
Yeah.
one element E.
Yeah, each element. It's a target. This is current object. So
So it's checking references, right?
yeah.
So we can't use contains. We cannot
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think we can use contain, but we need to the
override the equals method.
Yeah, right.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's try it.
Yeah, I think.
Okay, so what are we? Oh, so where
Yeah.
was the equals method? In the object class is where we were looking, right?
Yeah.
So where is the object class? Let's see the equals method.
Control
Equals.
It should be object.
Okay, so that's okay. Equals.
I think. I know the reason. It should be the object type, but we need to.
Cast it.
Yeah, right.
You sure?
Yeah, right. And then
And
Object
then
students.
yeah,
yeah, the type has
we
to be
need
object.
to the
Yeah, cast it.
Yeah,
Okay,
right.
give me a minute. So, okay, let's do this. What are we trying to do? We want to
Cast.
the cast it. Okay, so take a student object
Yeah, right.
S. This that's already a student. Okay, so take this student.
Yeah.
How do you cast it?
Object
Object. Yeah.
No.
It should be
String,
object.
string. This is string.
No. First you have to, this is an object, right?
Yeah, but we will the downcasting. That's why
We are,
downcast.
oh, we are downcast. No.
Yeah, right.
Oh,
Downcast.
wait.
Yeah, it's downcast.
Yeah, here.
Because it's obvious.
See, you have to change it to a
Yeah.
student object to this student, right? Am I doing it right now?
Yeah, right.
So you are creating
And then
students.
this
So I'm getting an object and then I'm creating a student
Yeah,
S out
right.
of it, and then we'll have to say
Mhm.
S here.
Yeah. Because
But ma'am, you will pass students, not object. You
No.
will pass here.
No, you're
students.
passing one object at a
yeah,
time.
because
No, it will be students type, not object type.
No, here. No. See,
because there's
see,
the
that's okay.
reason. This
See, the equal wants an object from you.
yeah, it is the
The
override-
equals method, when you override it, it needs an object from you. The data type should be object, right? So if the data type is object, you have to cast it into a student before you get its
So
ID.
when you call it, you have to cascade first, then you can call it.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes, right. Okay, so now what?
Yeah.
Now
It's
we have an
but-
equals, right?
Yeah, it's no
Now we have an
problem.
equals. Now in
Yeah.
the tester,
Yeah,
if I try to do this with the same
it's the same.
1 and 1, it should give me a false. See, what did we do with the what did we do with the equals method? We are saying whenever, oh, what did I do?
You put it to.
Just-
Just drag this and
just-
put it here.
Yeah.
Put the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh,
Okay, now we overrode the equals method.
Okay.
Now in your lab class, when you call contains,
No problem.
contains calls equals, you've
Yeah.
given it a new definition, and
Yeah.
that's what it will do.
Yeah.
Okay, now it should give me
Can we
false,
try?
Yeah,
right? It
this is
should?
no- Yeah.
Yeah, I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay. There we go. Okay.
Yeah, it's the same.
Yes. So we've overridden the equals method. So what does it do now when you, or you could have compared the ID,
Yeah, right.
or you could cover, I mean, that could be more for, maybe people will understand that better. Instead of using contains here, you could have checked this student's ID and done a parse of the array list and check, are you there? Are you there? Are you there? Are you there?
But actually, I also usually check the ID. Yeah, instead of using this one, but as I knew, overriding
Equals method, yeah. But
it's
see,
right
if,
way.
yeah, but see,
I-
am I using contains somewhere else and will it cause a problem in some other method? I see what you mean, right? You have
Yeah.
overridden the contains. But what if contain, I have to use contains, like general contains without what you've done? Then this will not work.
But actually, this content is for only this root.
Only the students, yeah.
So it's no problem, I think.
Let me think. Are we
Yeah.
using contains somewhere else?
Yeah. It's only for this.
Only for this, yeah.
So
Or the other option would have been, which is more straightforward and maybe the students will understand, is compare this student's ID in the array list. If it
With
is
the
not
lab
there,
class,
then add.
yeah.
That's good idea, because if you want to use contain, otherwise.
But where? That's what exactly he's saying. But
No,
where?
ma'am,
No,
it's not in
but
this
no,
class.
but then it
In
doesn't.
lab class.
It's only in this class that the contains is working like this because we've overridden the equals method. Only in this class, only with students,
Yeah.
not everywhere.
Yeah.
Only in this project.
Maybe like we will write some
Specific.
other program, and in that we don't want to call the equals. Like
No,
it
no,
can
no, no.
happen sometimes.
It's
No,
only
no.
within this class.
I know,
This contains is only
Called
using a new equals method for the students class. That's it. Nowhere else.
And then like for this class and this whole
Project,
class
yes, it's okay.
It's okay.
Okay.
But maybe like in the next, like sometime we want to write another
Normal contain in
program.
this program. If you want to use a
Yes.
contain, yeah, that's what I was saying. If we
We
want
will
to
have
use
that
contains,
problem.
then we will have the problem.
Yes.
But
So
right
it's
now it
better
is,
to-
it's better
right
to
now
do
it's-
the checking here of the if.
Actually, that's why the reason why this good is because if we had more condition to check student, we only need to change just equals method.
Yes.
That's why it's
Yeah,
better
here
way.
for now it is okay.
Yeah.
But if you want to use contains in its general meaning in the same program, then you
it
cannot
will
do
be
it. Yes.
for the same
For,
class.
yeah, for the same class. I'm saying in the same, yeah. For now it will work. So maybe in the drop, what did I do in the drop? I don't remember. The drop is just, see here I did a check. I said get the student ID equals ignore case. I checked it and then I removed it.
Yeah.
That's
right.
how I did it. And I could do the same here also, right? I could do the same here also. So I got the student. I kind of looked for the student, and when I got it, I removed it. And you'll have to do the same here if you don't want to override the equals method. Yeah, but at least now the references part was absolutely correct, what you were saying. Okay, thanks for bringing that out. I'll tell the class, okay? I'll tell the class. Okay, thank you.
We can pass the like
What did
date
we do?
as an like
Okay,
string.
as a string. So
But
you,
we have to create date, not
We have to
local time.
create two formats.
yeah, but do you think date is, they have depreciated it after the Java 8? Is that class date still active? Because date class had some problems. Is it still active? Is it okay to
Yes,
use? It's
because
not
we are
deprecated?
using in it.
Yeah,
Yes.
but remember we have a new java.time package in it. And when they get something new, they usually deprecate the old ones. So I'm just asking,
But
did you
it's
check?
working and like
No, it's working. Deprecated methods will also work.
Okay.
But you should not use them, is what I'm saying. So did you check if they were deprecated? Did you go to the help and check?
No.
We can do that. Sometimes it will tell you in the help itself.
Java date.
Yeah, let's see. Oracle help, see. Util, compact, direct. Yep, no, it's fine. Represents a specific in time with milliseconds. Yep, that's fine. That's
We
fine.
can
Let me
use-
see, what did you do? Just format it in a particular. There was
We
no method
created
in the
two
java.time.
Like we can provide a string and we have just to format like simple date format and we can format
Then
it
we can
anyway.
play with any format.
Oh, so you created two formats,
Yeah.
one in just hour, minutes, no PM and AM?
Last
No, last one, this one, 1330.
Okay. But why would you do that?
It's just for like
Okay.
example we copied it.
So you were asking, can you pass a string to the
Yes,
date?
we
Yeah.
just
And
pass
that's
this
the only
string.
way you could do it?
Yes. It's better like when you are creating a new object, like we know that it's local time, but how will like other common
Users
people pass like local time of hour and that?
So you say create a date object and then pass it, right?
Yes, because like when they call the constructor, they just have to pass a string.
Ah, I get it.
Made it
But
a
then who
string name.
creates it? Then the method, then the,
Method will do that this thing.
oh, the
For-
method has to do this.
You have to do that because man, like
See, I changed from string back to this because I wanted to use the local time object. I had a string when I began, right? Remember we
Yes.
said I can use a string. If you have to get back to this, then there are other things you have to keep in mind. String, somebody may pass ABC.
yes, ma'am, like local time start. How will common people know like I have to pass a local time format if somebody is running?
Keep something in mind. You have to keep something in mind which you keep forgetting. You're not asking a user to, you're asking the user the time in a dialog box. You're taking the input from the user in a dialog box. It's your job as a programmer to take that and put it in the local time. So it's not the user who's doing it. It's the programmer who's doing it. So from the user,
So we
you're
have
only
to take
asking
it in the right way from the front.
from the front.
We can also create drop down and
Exactly. That would be much better.
PM, AM.
Right? It's much beyond just what we do. Keep in mind, we always have these three tiers. Okay?
Thank you.
Okay, you're welcome. Thank you.
You have to answer.
Oh, there it is. Okay. Oh, display is warming up. Okay, so you shut it off. Okay, so we did some discussions here about comparing, and as Jungwon had pointed out, that something was not correct because they were reference variables, right? So we did some, I did some testing, and with the reference variables, I'll show you what happens because they are reference variables, right? They are reference variables. So I'll show you what happens, and then we can think of a solution together. Of course, we've got a solution, but see, this was his question. He said, suppose you create a now what? There. Okay. Okay, he said, what if you try to add a student Anju twice, right? Like the same student twice. If I say it already contains it, then I shouldn't be able to add it. But this is what kind of, I mean, now we've changed it. But so, okay, so I created a student with my ID 1 and COPA. That was a new student. I created a class. The set start time and all this were not important. And then I created another student with the same data. Notice it is a different object. S2 is a different object. If I try to add S1 twice, I get a problem. But if I try to add S1 and S2 separately, even though they have the same data, I'm fine, I can add them. So that my purpose is lost, right? My purpose is that the same student should not be allowed to be enrolled in the class. So there are a few ways. I'll show you how it runs. before, let me remove the solution. Let me remove the solution from here. And let me tell you what the problem was. What was the question asked of me? The question that was asked of me was this. The question was asked that contains method is comparing two objects. It's saying, is this object inside me? That was the question. And I thought that contains kind of looks at the contents and compares. But remember, objects are reference variables. They're reference variables. So if they are reference variables, and when I try to add the same object again, contains will say, you cannot do it. But if I create two different objects with the same contents, it will let me add it. Because they're reference objects. Okay, so now see, I'll show you. So see if this is working, and it is not working. So let's do this. I haven't changed anything from what it was. This is what we were writing when we went for break, right? Okay, so this is what I did. I created an S1 student and I enrolled the student in my class. S1 was enrolled in class. And I said, okay, were you enrolled? True or false? And now for a minute, I'm enrolling the same student in the class. I shouldn't be able to enroll it, right? Because it's the same object and contains checks objects, references. So I should have a true and I should have a false, right? Okay. And it works, that's fine. Right? It says, okay, true, I've added S1 and now you're telling me to add it again. You can't add it. But the question that was asked was, that looks fine. But what if I do this? I've created the same student twice, but in a different name. In a different name. It's a different reference now. And now I don't get a true and a false. Now I get a true and a true. Because S1 is a different reference. S2 is a different reference. So contains is comparing references, not the contents. Right? So let's try it again. Both students got added. So what should we be comparing? So the easy solution. What should we be comparing when I enroll a student? What should I be comparing? Student ID. So not the student object, the student ID. I should be comparing the student ID. So I'll show you this way. There was a solution that was given that you can change contains does what? It uses an equals method, and John Wang came up with, why don't you override the equals method? I think right now this is a little tough to understand maybe by everybody, but this is a straight solution. So here in the lab class, you can do this. You can do this. It won't work. So what should you do? What is your job? You will be using a for loop. I could actually write a method for it because I'm going to need it. I'm going to need it again in my remove. Okay, so let me write a method. I'm going to write a method, okay? I won't do it here. I'll write a public method that returns a Boolean. I'll call it find student. Find a student. And I will pass it a student object or an ID or whatever, right? An int. Student ID was an int. Thank you. Doesn't matter what we call it here, right? I'm going to write this method. So now we'll do the for loop here. This way, at least it will be at one place, and if I need it again, which I will. Okay, what do you want to do? So go through the whole list. If the S dot get student ID, this is a string, equals ignore case, just in case if there are any letters in it. What is coming to me is an ID. Right, so I'm checking if you have found it. If this student ID is equal to this student ID, what do you return? True. Job done. I don't even need the, oh my God, was this going on forever? Okay, no, it stopped. Okay, sorry.